everyone, and welcome to Tiger Talk. This is Gerard Wellbrock, and we're glad to have you with us as we talk Fort Hays State basketball. We'll be joined by women's coach Tony Hobson, men's coach Mark Johnson, recapping the final two games of Fort Hays State's three-game homestand. Thursday night, taking on the Griffins from Missouri Western. Saturday afternoon, the Bearcats of Northwest Missouri State. And now a big road trip coming up for both teams as they head east down I-70. They'll be in Jefferson City to take on Lincoln on Thursday night, and then on Saturday afternoon, the Lions from Lindenwood in St. Charles. Tiger Talk brought to you again by the fine folks of Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail in Hays, and by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine in Hays, the taste that brings you back. We'll take our first break. When we come back, women's coach Tony Hobson will join us right after this here on Tiger Talk. And some of the action from Thursday night, the Fort Hays State women, a very nice win over Missouri Western. They wrapped up the three-game homestand with a couple of victories. Beat the Griffins Thursday, then had a very impressive showing against Northwest Missouri State on Saturday. Welcome back to Tiger Talk, program brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hays. You can experience their delicious cook-to-order food, rich and creamy frozen custard. It's churned fresh throughout the day, all at Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers on North Vine in Hays. It's the taste that brings you back. Coach, was a good end to the homestand. We talked about the importance, and obviously didn't get off to a good start with the loss to Nebraska Kearney, but you did the next best thing. You came back and won your next two ball games, so a good end to the homestand for your team.
Well, you don't have a lot of choices. You know, you can't go back and play that game again, so you try to not necessarily forget it, but try to correct what you did wrong and move on to the next target. And I thought our kids did a pretty good job of that, because there was a lot of disappointment after that Saturday game against Kearney. And Missouri Western's always scrappy and always tough, and I think that was a good thing, because you know, we lost a tough one there last year, and I think that helped get our kids ready and make sure we didn't overlook them. So I like the way we bounced back, and I thought our focus was good, and we had a real good week. You
got off to a good start. You have a 10-point lead after the first quarter, and obviously that is always nice, especially at home. And you kind of mentioned it there. They've been depleted. They've lost some players, some injuries, some other circumstances. They didn't have a lot, and then they have another injury in the first 5 minutes, so they were shorthanded. But yet they've got a great point guard, Malia Richardson. She's as good as it gets in the MIAA, and they're scrappy and they battle. And I mean, even though their numbers are down, they played a lot of teams really close. Never an easy team, and just a hard team to play, just because of the way they make that game kind of dirty and muddy, and just really difficult for you to do anything.
Yeah, they always defend well, and they put good on-ball pressure. They pressure the wings, and you know, they have two of their guards play 40 minutes a game anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Richardson always does. Five, I can't remember her name. She always does. So it's not as big a deal for a few of their players as what it might seem, unless they get foul trouble or another injury. So I just thought we tended to our business and did what we needed to do. We avoided that when you look down at the other end and they only have 7 or 8 or 7 warming up, and oh wow, they only have 7 players. And you know, I just reminded them that there's never going to be more than 5 of them out there at one time, and there can't be more than 5 of you. And you know, we played 8 people the first half. They played 7. I mean, but still, I just liked what I saw out of our kids. We defended much better, and they have a better than average post player who's been giving people fits. I thought Emma and I thought Belle did a great job keeping the ball from her and keeping her in the lane so long. You know, I think she had 3 3-second calls, but they did a good job of denying her the ball, and that was kind of the key to slowing them down. Richardson's a really good player, but just pure offense is not necessarily the top part of her game. She can score, but she usually gets them into stuff and defends. So I thought that was the key, was just kind of clamping them down inside.
And then you came back Saturday afternoon, Northwest Missouri State, and they've yet to get a conference win, but yet you look, they've played a lot of teams close, and I know they've got a newer head coach, and they've got half their rosters freshmen trying to build it up the right way, but they should have beat Kearney. Heck, they blew a 10-point lead with 4 minutes to go and losing double overtime, so that just shows you right there. But we've talked a lot about energy and all those things for your squad, and man, that first half, really the whole game, and you could feel it. Got off to that great start, big run in the first quarter. That was fun to watch. And when your team plays like that, I mean, the sky's the limit for this group.
Well, you could tell when the game started that we had a little edge that we haven't seen a lot, probably since December, with this group. And you could tell defensively we were in the right spots. We were getting there a little quicker. I thought we rebounded the ball well. I thought the tone was just set by Carly.
Yeah.
When she's aggressive, she's really hard to guard. And she got to the basket a couple times. She had a nice little spin, step through move in there. She got an offensive rebound, scored. She kind of set the tone, and we ran the floor. We got a couple over the top passes. The over the top pass to T was a great play. Probably will be on your highlights. And then we hit a couple shots, and I was glad to see Casey kind of get back on track and shoot the ball better. And part of that was I thought we just talked about moving the ball without putting it on the floor.
Yeah.
I thought we started dribbling it too much, and as a result, I thought she got really good shots. She only shot 10 times, but she hit a couple threes and some other baskets. So I liked what I saw from her.
And you mentioned the double-double from the game from Carly. She gets a double-double, 12 points, 10 boards, and 4 assists in 34 minutes. I mean, for a guard, it's going to be hard to find a better line than what she put up.
Well, it is. I mean, especially she's coming down and taking some of those rebounds from, right between Emma and Laney and Casey, and they're all 6'8", 10 inches taller than her. But a lot of times, in all fairness, a lot of times our bigs are, they're blocking somebody off.
Right.
They're tied up. And it's the guard's job to come back in and clean that up. And Carly does a really good job of that. Because sometimes they can't go and get a ball. They're like in a wrestling match trying to keep somebody from getting position. And they'll get the ones that come to them, and their man's not going to get it. But the guards need to come in and chase those down. And Carly does a good job of that and played with a lot of energy. And as a result, I think the rest of the team followed her.
Well, the Tigers win it 75-46 on Saturday as they get back above 500 in the MIAA, now 14-4 on the year. And as we said, a big road trip coming up starting Thursday night in Jefferson City against the Lincoln Blue Tigers. We'll talk all about the matchup when we return. Tiger Talk brought to you in part tonight by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, where they have their delicious cook-to-order double steak burgers, crispy shoestring fries, seasoned with Freddy's famous seasoning. Of course, finish it off with their signature turtle sundae made with their fresh, creamy frozen custard. They're on North Vine and Hayes. Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the taste that brings you back. We'll take a break, be back with more with Coach Hobson right after this here on Tiger Talk.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk. That was some of the action from Saturday as Fort Hays State got the big victory. And Coach mentioned it. There was the nice put in by Tatiana Leggett. Kind of like a wide receiver. I mean, caught it over the shoulder, got it down. I mean, not easy to do for anybody and made it look really, really simple.
Well, the hard thing about it is the pass.
Yeah.
And I usually tell our guards not even to try that pass. It's better to be over to the side so you have a little bit of an angle. And it's just hard to see. I mean, it looked about like a couple of Brady's, where you just have to lob. They have about a foot window to be perfect, and that was those when you're moving that fast. And T's probably the fastest kid on our team, and she was going full bore, and it was just one of those that was a good play in a tight game where you probably don't even want to throw it. But it was a good play, and excited the crowd and got our kids moving a little quicker even.
Yeah, it's kind of a catalyst for that big run, and then you kind of put the game away from there. Now on the road, a big week, and they all are as the season goes on. Now getting to the midway point of conference play, you got back above 500 in the MIAA, and you look at the standings. Obviously, there's several near the top, but you're still in a position. You're just 2 games in the loss column out of second place. If you can put a good week together, you can get right back in the thick of things, but never easy. And I know Lincoln's record doesn't look great. They haven't won a conference game either, but that's a difficult place to play. They're scrappy, and you got to bring in. Sometimes you got to bring your own energy. It's as big of a challenge to play there for a lot of different reasons as there is anywhere in the MIAA.
Well, again, they've lost some games. I don't know how many single-digit losses they've had, but it's been a bunch, including Central Missouri and including Washburn. And they had a bunch of them that were tight.
Yeah.
And when you go there, and especially, I always like to play them on a weekend because their crowds aren't quite as good, but you get them on a Thursday night, and that place will be really rocking. And you know, we have to tend to our business, and that's a game we got to have. And like you said, they haven't won a conference game, but they're going to, and they're going to beat somebody. Just like Northwest, you know, they have Kearney more than on the ropes. I mean, they got outscored 18 from the free throw line and took them double overtime on the road. So Northwest is going to beat somebody. You don't want it to be you know, and that's what we have to just guard against. And I think we're through the, I just call them it's just kind of the doldrums. Every year you have this about a 3 to 4 week period in the middle of the season where the season's already about as long as a high school season, and you still can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like you know, it's just kind of a limbo period, and we never seem to play very good in that time. And I think it happened to us the last 2 years where we kind of went through that, and then at the end when you start seeing, okay, we need to do this, this, and this, the tournament's coming up, it seems like you pick it up. So hopefully that happens, or hopefully it's already in motion and we can continue that. But Lincoln's no joke. They've got some really good athletes. Their post player's a good transfer kid that is really kind of wiry and active. They got 2 good guards that shoot it well, and you know, they're just it's like a grab bag at Christmas. You're not sure what you're going to get with them, and people are probably saying that about us too. I mean, I think it's just how the flow goes sometimes in basketball. So we just hope we can get a good effort and survive this road trip.
I know a lot of your effort on Lincoln right now, but Lindenwood got a lot of players back from last year's team. They've kind of been up and down as well, but second leg of the road trip, we know how challenging that can be. It's one of the longest road trips of the year. Your team has had games, they played great in that building, then they've had other nights it's been less than desirable. So hopefully they're going to have an up in the tank on Saturday and then close it out strong, because that'll be another big one when they get to face the Lindenwood Lions.
Probably have as much talent, I think, as anybody. And I know they've had some nagging injuries like everybody has, but anytime you can just throttle Emporia State at home, they beat them by 16 or 18. I don't get it. They're really up and down. They've got a great post player that's averaging 19 and 13 and shooting. You know, she's made 20-some threes and shooting 42%. She's shooting 60% from the field. She is a load. And, you know, I think that's one of our standpoints that we're really strong at on our team. I think that's one point is our post defense, I think, is pretty solid, and we've got some depth there. So hopefully we can match up with that a little bit. But they got a good point guard. They've got a strong 4-man. I mean, they're talented. And if you catch them on a night, we might play real well and still not be able to get them. But we have to make sure that we do our duty and play well, and then let the chips fall. You know, we can go in there. I know we can beat them. if the night's right and if we're ready to play.
All right, well, we'll see. Should be interesting. Thursday night in Jeff City, then Saturday afternoon in St. Charles. Coach, as always, we appreciate it, and we'll see you in Missouri later this week.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
That's head coach Tony Hobson of the Fort Hays State women again Thursday night against the Lincoln Blue Tigers, and then Saturday the Lindenwood Lions on the road. Tiger Talk brought to you in part by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, where you can start your day off with their hot coffee, their breakfast sandwiches, and a whole lot more. Breakfast burritos. They've got something for every meal at Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. Paninis, salads, wraps, you name it. And of course, they've got cheesecake, scones, and everything else. They're at 27th and Indian Trail in Hays. Use their convenient drive-through on your way to work. Get that hot, piping cup of coffee at Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail. We'll take a break. Mark Johnson of the men's team will join us right after this here on Tiger Talk.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk. Some of the action from Thursday night. Fort Hays State getting a nice win over the Griffins from Missouri Western. Unfortunately, came up a little bit short against the second-ranked Bearcats of Northwest Missouri State on Saturday. Welcome back to Tiger Talk, brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. Men's coach Mark Johnson joining us now, and 2-1 on the homestand. And considering you had the reigning national champions coming in, you knew that was going to be a tough challenge. I still would call it a success, although you win the first two. You get a little bit greedy and try to take all three, but did what you had to do, especially on Thursday night against Missouri Western, a team that has struggled to get wins, but yet, man, you look at it and play everybody tough, and I thought you guys played really, really well in that contest.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they've played everybody tough. I think they've had 3 overtime losses. They've had 4 and 5 point losses in conference, and they play really hard. They're making a low possession game. And thought the second half especially, we really took it to another level from an effort standpoint and toughness standpoint. Really shut them out. I think they had 2 points in 10 minutes and ended up with only 14 points in all of the second half. Felt like we got on the offensive glass and gave ourselves some second chance points, and really played well and kind of walked away there with a 19-point victory, which felt like it was a harder game than that. But that was a game we really needed to take care of, especially with Brady being out. We know all these games are going to be a challenge for us without him right now, and that was a game we had to have, just if you look at their place in the standings and where we're at. So proud of our guys. Thought we played really hard and like I said, physical and all that, and was hoping for a little better outcome on Saturday against Northwest Missouri, and they're a great team. It was going to be a difficult game for us no matter what, and just could not quite get over the hump and find a way to win that game.
Yeah, go back to the Western game. It's one of their largest deficits or biggest defeats in conference play, which is surprising. It just shows you how close of games they've been, and they gave Kearney all they wanted Saturday. You mentioned Brady. Found out he's going to be out for a while with the sickness. Obviously, one of your top scorers, and he gives you a low post presence, but a lot of other things. The defense and how you go about games now has changed completely. And it's probably difficult to just revamp everything this late into the game.
Yeah, and like you make a good point. It really was exposed on Saturday. When you lose a player in basketball, you don't just lose him on offense, you lose him on defense. And, that side of the floor is just as important as the other side. I mean, no side is, in any sport, the defensive side of the ball is just as important as the offensive side. And it does make a difference for us. He's our biggest body. He's our best post defender. He leads us in blocks shots and changes the game. So that is a major factor on that end of the floor. But besides the fact he's our only other guy that averages double figures. So yeah, you can't. I don't think we can, like I said, revamp everything we're doing. I think maybe Marcus stepped up Saturday, and you have other opportunities for other guys, and there's more shot opportunities for some of your other players, and they got to get more aggressive and look for their times when they need to try to score for us. But overall, I don't think we've really changed a whole lot of how we're trying to play. Maybe trying to open the floor up a little bit against Northwest. But we might have done that anyway with Brady because they're so big. If you look at them outside of the center position, that's the biggest team we've played all year, and we've played KU and K-State.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of height out on the perimeter. We had some 6-foot guys or 5'10" guys trying to guard 6'7" guys, and they just shoot right over us. But they're a very big team, and it was a difficult matchup for us.
Yeah, Pitts doesn't start. He's out with a concussion, so he'll never get a play at Gross Coliseum. And you think, hey, the All-American's not going to play. But you take him out, let's see, 5'8", maybe, 5'9".
Yeah.
Now you start 6'7". So they were 6'4", 6'7", 6'7", 6'8", 6'8". And obviously they had to change how they went about it without Pitts, and they just pounded it into Doherty. And that was kind of the difference in the game.
It really was, we just didn't have an answer, and part of it, not that it would it have changed anything, I don't know, but I mean, you spend your whole time preparing for a certain way of style of playing with them. It's ball screens, pick and pops. How are we going to guard all the ball screens? And Doherty, he's probably needs the ball more. I mean, he's a good player, and against us, they just went a totally different route, and they pounded it inside. And anytime you help, they shoot the ball so well. But like I said, going in, it would have changed anything probably not. But I would like to have spent a little more time preparing on different ways to double team the post. And like I said, going into that game, there was no concern of that, and so it kind of I thought a little bit. We weren't just prepared quite as well as you would have liked for what they did to us and how they were playing.
You had 13 turnovers, which in the grand scheme of things wasn't bad. Only 3 after halftime, but it was those 10 in the first half. I think they scored, 15 points off of turnovers in the first half off you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the game, and we couldn't stop them for 40 minutes, and we stopped ourselves on offense the first half. We had 10 turnovers, which allowed them to have a 13-point halftime lead, and then you're playing catch-up the whole way, and we outscored them by, 8 in the second half. But if we don't turn the ball over in the first half, it's probably a close game, and it just goes back and forth for 40 minutes. Neither team could really, do a great job of stopping the other team. But like I said, we turned it over and just led to easy baskets and only had 20 points because, it's a low possession game when you play them, and that's just 10 times we didn't get a shot off.
Well, the Tigers will try to bounce back from the loss. Big week on the road at Lincoln and at Lindenwood this Thursday and Saturday. We'll talk about it when we return. Tiger Talk brought to you again by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. They're delicious frozen custard and cooked-to-order steak burgers, the Chicago-style hot dogs, and the piping hot shoestring fries. All family favorites. Great hospitality when they greet you at the door or through their convenient drive-thru. They're on North Vine and Hayes. Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the taste that brings you back. We'll take our final break and preview the road trip this week for the Tigers right after this here on Tiger Talk.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hayes Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
And welcome back. That was more of the action from Saturday in the Tigers' 5-point loss to the defending national champions and second-ranked Northwest Missouri State Bearcats. Welcome into our final segment here on Tiger Talk. Fort Hays State on the road. They'll be in Jeff City, the capital city of Missouri, taking on Lincoln University. The Blue Tigers on Thursday, and then Lindenwood on Saturday. Let's start with the game. Obviously, it's a big week for your squad. You're right there in a dogfight as it is every year in the middle of the pack of the MIAA, trying to get to that top 4. Lindenwood right on your heels. Lincoln starting to play a little bit better, getting some wins. This will be a challenging road trip. They always are on the road, but it seems like this one is especially tough.
Yeah, and they're starting to put it together. I mean, you look at their schedule. They've had a difficult opening half. I think they have 9 games left, and 6 of them are at home, the rest away. So, I think their record is a little bit more about their schedule they've played in the first half, but they both had nice road trips. Lindenwood went and swept the Baptist Central Missouri road trip, which we got swept, and then Lincoln was able to split it. I like that we're playing Lincoln first, and the fact that we've always played Lindenwood first, and you can't play any worse than we have at Lindenwood. So I don't know if changing the order will change our performance at Lindenwood or not. But difficult games. Lincoln athletic team got a couple guys. They really shoot the ball well. They're shooting 41% from 3 as a team. So that'll be a challenge for us. We're going to have to be able to stay out on those guys, and then they're athletic enough to beat you off the bounce. So, since Coach Mosley's got there and taken over, I mean, Lincoln's it's just a different program than it was, 4 or 5 years ago, and it's made our league even stronger, which is probably the last thing we needed was another team to emerge and be really good. But that'll be, and it's a hard place to play. And then obviously Lindenwood, to me, just watching them briefly here, they're really starting to play well. They got a really good 4 and 5 man. Their guards are starting to put up some numbers, and they're a good team. I think you could see them coming on here in the last half of the conference season to make a run. like you said, it's a big, important week for us. We've got to find a way to get some wins before we come back home. Because if you lose these two, you feel like that top four is really getting away from you, and now you're really putting yourself in trouble for that top 8 to get a home game. So a big week for us. Hopefully our guys will be ready. You know, Brady won't be there. Hopefully Trey, haven't figured that out yet, if he'll be able to go. But, you know, hopefully as a team we'll be able to respond and go out there on the road. And I think for the most part we've played pretty well on the road outside of the Central Missouri game. And hopefully we can continue to do that.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look. I'm sure you've played well at St. Charles at one point, but it's hard to remember. It seems like, and you've had good teams, and whatever reason, just have not performed well there. It's kind of scratching your head a little bit.
Well, if we've played well at St. Charles as long before I've been here. I mean, I think we've been there 3 times, and it's been 3 pretty poor performances. And we've tried to switch it up, our preparation, how we get there, when we get there, all those things, and it doesn't seem to matter. Like I said, maybe by not driving and playing them there first, we're playing them second, maybe it'll be a different outcome. But right now your whole focus is on Lincoln, and got to go down there to Jeff City and find a way to play well, because it's going to take a good effort. I mean, we're going to have to play well to win there, and hopefully we're capable of doing that.
And you mentioned their perimeter shooting, their guards. That's the one thing. I mean, it's different guys this year because they lost 2 good ones to graduation, but it seems they have good guard play all the time and just really keep the pressure on you, and because of that.
Well, I mean, that's what wins in basketball in today's world, even in whether it be the NBA. You know, it's guards. It's a guard game. You know, there's just not many back to the baskets player with the 3-point shot, the shot clock. It's not as big of a premium to throw it inside and be effective. I mean, if you got guards that can make plays and score and like I said, and then break down the defense, that's good teams, and that's what they have. And quite frankly, at times that's probably what we're struggling with a little bit, not getting as much out of our guards from a scoring standpoint and creating standpoint as we need, and hopefully we'll get a little better at that. But that's where Lincoln's really strong.
All right, well, we'll see. It'll be interesting. Always is when you head to Lincoln. The crowd will be rocking on Thursday night as the Tigers and the Blue Tigers hook up. Mark, we appreciate it, and we'll see you in Jefferson City on Thursday.
All right, thanks, Gerard.
There you go. That's head coach Mark Johnson of the Fort Hays State Tigers. 5:30 and 7:30 for the Tigers and the Blue Tigers on Tiger Radio Mix 103, 5:05 with the Auto World pregame. Then it's a 1:30, 3:30 tip from Highland Arena in St. Charles for the Tigers and Lindenwood on Saturday. Certainly hope you can join us. If you missed any portion of the program, you can always catch it online at HaysPost.com. And of course, the video replay on Eagle Cable's channel 14 and 614 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays 3 times throughout the day. Big thanks to Jordan running the camera for that today. And that's going to wrap up the program. It is brought to you again by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, GNL Tire and Automotive, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams, Brown, Barron and Ball, BTI, and Horizon Appliance and Electronics. And of course, as always, brought to you by Mocha's Coffee, Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. Now to wrap it up for Coach Tony Hobson and Mark Johnson, this is Gerard Wellbrock. So long, everyone.